So here we're given a diagram of the problem we're dealing with, which is that we have an observer 30 meters away from the base of a building, where the angle of elevation at the top is 28 degrees, and we're looking for the height of the building. So you can see here everything is nicely labelled. We've got this 30 meters in the bottom here, which is the distance between the person and the building, and then this 28 degrees basically represents the angle they're looking up at to the top of the building. And it's important to note here that we can ignore the height of the observer. So we're not told that it's eye level or anything, so we can kind of think of this person as basically lying on the ground with a tool to measure the height of the building. And we're basically going to be using our right angle triangle rule to figure out what the height of the building is, because the building is going to be at a right angle to the ground. And so as always with these questions involving angles and sides in a right angle triangle, we're going to have to use our rule for remembering the trig ratios, which is SOHCAHTOA. So basically this is what we use when we're dealing with angles and sides rather than just sides, because of course if we have side lengths, we're dealing with Pythagoras' theorem. But this is going to be what we use when we don't have any side lengths to deal with, or we don't have two side lengths to deal with. And so basically our next step is going to be to label which angles or which sides we're given. So you can see here we have this 28 degrees, and then adjacent to that, so the side along the bottom, which is just beside the angle, is going to be, we're just going to call that A, which is 30 meters. The hypotenuse is going to be the blue line, so that's kind of the line from the observer, their eye level on the ground, up to the top of the building. And then the opposite is going to be the actual height of the building. And so because we're given the adjacent and we're looking for the opposite, which is the height, we can actually use tan here. So we're going to be using this tan for our trig ratios. So basically the tan of 28, which is the angle of elevation, is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, which is going to be h over 30. So h over 30 is going to be the ratio here. And the nice thing about this is pretty much true for any problem involving the angle of elevation. So wherever you're given a distance between a person and the top of a building or the top of a skyscraper or anything like that, it could be the top of a cliff, but basically the point is that the distance away from the person is always going to be the adjacent, and then the height is always going to be the opposite. So this is going to be true for a lot of different questions. And now our job is basically to get h on its own. So we have h on the left, and we're going to have h is equal to h is equal to 30 tan 28 degrees. And so now that we've got h on one side, we can simply plug this quantity into our calculator. So we can simply plug in 30 times tan 28. Just be careful as well that your 30 doesn't end up inside the tan, because that would give you a different answer. But when we plug this in, we're going to get out an answer of 15.95. So we can actually round that up for this question. So we're going to get that the height of the building is going to be 16 meters to the nearest meter. So that's going to be the height here, and that's going to be it for this question.